students to the fifth module of chemical reactions and equations. In this module, we will be learning two special types of reactions, that is reduction reaction and the redox reactions, along with some examples. Also, we will discuss two different concepts, that is corrosion and rancidity, in detail. We have seen just now that potassium permanganate is a chemical oxidant. Now, have a look on this reaction. Here, as you can see, potassium permanganate plus 10 FeSO4 plus 8 H2SO4 gives K2SO4 plus MnSO4 plus 5 Fe2SO4 thrice plus 8 H2O. Now, in this reaction, which compound is oxidized by KMnO4? That is, potassium permanganate is acting as a oxidizing agent here. So let us find out which compound is oxidized by potassium permanganate here. Here you can see FeSO4 is transformed into Fe2SO4 thrice. So we can say here FeSO4 is oxidized to Fe2SO4 thrice. Now let us know how this conversion is an oxidation reaction. For this, let us write an ionic reaction for this. So we know that here FeSO4 is transformed into Fe2SO4 thrice. So let us write ionic reaction. Fe2SO4 can be written as Fe2 plus SO4 2 minus, and Fe2SO4 thrice is written as 2 Fe3 plus 3 SO4 2 minus. Now here ferric ion, that is ferrous ion, is transformed into ferric ion, that is Fe2 plus is transformed to Fe3 plus. And during this transformation, ferrous ion loses one electron. From this, we understand a new definition of oxidation, that is, oxidation means losing of one or more electrons. Let us learn reduction reaction. Let us study this reaction. Here in this reaction, vanaspati oil reacts with hydrogen to form vanaspati ghee. Let us study one more reaction. Here, ferric oxide reacts with hydrogen to form Fe ion and water. Now, in reaction A, the reactant gains hydrogen to form the product. And in reaction B, reactant ferric oxide loses oxygen to form Fe ions.
Such reactions are called as reduction reaction. So, let us define reduction reaction. The chemical reactions in which reactants gain hydrogen or loses oxygen are called as reduction reaction. And the substances that brings about reduction is called a reductant or a reducing agent. Let us learn redox reaction. Here, as you can see in the reaction, when hydrogen gas is passed over black copper oxide, a reddish colored layer of copper is formed, and the reaction can be written as CuO plus H2 gives Cu plus H2O. Now in this reaction, an oxygen atom goes away from CuO, that is copper oxide, which means that reduction of copper oxide takes place. Whereas hydrogen molecule takes up oxygen atom and water is formed. Meaning of this is oxidation of hydrogen takes place to form the water. Thus here oxidation and reduction occurs simultaneously. The reductant is oxidized by oxidant and the oxidant is reduced by the reductant. Due to these characteristics of reduction and oxidation reaction, a single term redox reaction is used in the place of the two terms. So, we can define redox reaction as the chemical reactions in which oxidation and reduction occurs simultaneously. That means we can say redox reaction is equal to reduction plus oxidation. Let us discuss some more redox reaction. Here in this reaction, MnO2 reacts with HCl to form MnCl2 plus Cl2 and water. Here MnO2 loses oxygen. So we can say MnO2 undergoes reduction reaction. At the same time, HCl loses hydrogen, as you can see here, and undergoes oxidation. As oxidation and reduction happens simultaneously, this is a redox reaction. Here is one more redox reaction. In this, SO2, that is sulfur dioxide, loses oxygen to form sulfur. Means here sulfur dioxide undergoes reduction reaction. At the same time, hydrogen from hydrogen sulfide gains oxygen to form water. That means here hydrogen sulfide undergoes oxidation reaction and forms water. Here also oxidation and reduction happens simultaneously. Therefore, this is also a redox reaction. Let us know about corrosion process. Due to various components of atmosphere, oxidation of metals takes place, consequently resulting in their damage. This is called corrosion. Corrosion is a serious problem. Let us see how corrosion affects various metals. In case of silver metal, when silver is exposed to sulfur containing gases in the air, it combines with sulfur and forms silver sulfide, which is black in color, and therefore silver articles turns black slowly. In case of copper metal, when it is exposed to the elements in the air, undergoes a series of chemical reactions that gives a pale green color to it. The process of aluminum corrosion is known as oxidation. The resulting aluminum oxide is a thin, hard layer of dull grey coating, as you can see here in the picture. Corrosion of iron and its alloys is called as rusting. Rusting process is actually the oxidation of iron metal which result in formation of reddish colored solid layer on it called as rust. Let us discuss rusting process in detail. For this, let us do one activity. Place 4 test tubes on a test tube stand. Take some water in the first test tube. Let there be only air in the second test tube. There is no water, only air in the second test tube. Take some boiled water in the third test tube, and in the fourth test tube take some salt water. Now place a small iron nail in every test tube. Close second and third test tube with a rubber cork. Now let all these 4 test tubes remain unattended for a few days. Observe all the 4 test tubes after few days. What did you find? Which test tubes had the nails as before? You can see the nails in the test tube 2 and 3 remain unrusted because in the second test tube there is air and there is no water, and in the third test tube there is only water, no air. So from this we can conclude that both water and air are necessary for the rusting process. Also, if you compare the nails in the first and the fourth test tube, you can see the nail in the first test tube is rusted, but the nail, iron nail in the fourth test tube is rusted more as there is a salt present in the water. So we can say rusting process takes place rapidly in presence of salt. We have learned how corrosion occurs in various metals, and we know that corrosion of iron and its alloys is called as rusting. The rust on iron does not form by a simple reaction of oxygen with iron surface. The rust is formed by an electrochemical reaction. Different regions on the iron surface become anode and cathode in this process. Let us see how exactly it happens. As you can see here, O2 is reduced to form water in the cathode region, and Fe is oxidized to Fe2 plus in the anode region. When Fe2 plus ion migrates from anode region, they react with water and further get oxidized to form Fe3 ions. A reddish colored hydrated oxide is formed from Fe3 ions, which is called as rust. So, the chemical formula of rust is Fe2O3.H2O. Let us discuss rancidity. When we use old leftover cooking oil for making foodstuff, it is found to have foul odor called rancidity. If food is cooked in such oil, its taste also changes. When oil or ghee is left aside for a longer time or fried food is left aside for a longer time, it undergoes air oxidation and becomes rancid. Let us define rancidity. Rancidity is the development of unpleasant smells in fats and oils, which are often accompanied by changes in their texture and appearance. Rancidity in foodstuff cooked in oil or ghee is prevented by using some antioxidants. And the process of oxidation reaction of foodstuff can also be slowed down by storing it in airtight containers.